What's up, traders? This is Vee Trades, and today we'll be doing a technical analysis breakdown for a strategy with the ticker symbol MSTR. I will first be going over what I see in the daily chart and maybe finish the video off looking at the weekly chart. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Please trade at your own risk. So let's take a look at MSTR. It's another down day, nothing new. And we are working our way towards the $150 measure move target. And I'm measuring it from the prior impulse down. As you can see here, this was one large drop historically. We had a correction, and the second large drop started from that top of that correction. So the bears made one attempt right here, failed, correction, second attempt. So the second attempt is still in formation, and sometimes you might even get a third attempt. So even if we do see a pullback, especially because we're overextended, we're not going to continue dropping down in a straight line. This is the lowest point we have seen pretty much year over year, basically since like October of last year, and the lowest point this year. So this is probably the worst time to sell, even though, yes, I do see lower prices. We don't go in a straight line. I mean, that would be really bearish, and that can happen. We are in this very tight forming channel right here, but there's a possibility that we do see a bounce, maybe back up to the 230s, maybe even the 240s, and maybe if that's even broken, right? I'm open to invalidation. I'm always changing my mind, right? I mean, to be like good at this and to not lose a lot of money, you have to be changing your mind constantly, right? The price tells you what to do. If the price starts going up, okay, well, I guess we're not going to go down. So now you change your mind. I mean, that's just how it is. You don't keep on being you can't keep on like doing the same thing over and over again and trying to yield the same results, right? That's not how the market works. You have to change your perspective, and it's based on the price action changing itself, the trend changing directions, patterns not playing out, patterns being invalidated. So as right now, I'm not changing my mind because there's nothing telling me to change my mind on the chart. I don't care what the fundamentals are. That doesn't matter in a bear market. In a bear market, you'll see a lot of good news, and all you'll see is price do this. Go down, go down, go down. It doesn't matter, right? Traders don't care about that. They look at the chart. If the chart is bearish, they will take a short. If the chart is bullish, they will take a long. They don't care about the fundamentals. Fundamentals is for people who are holding maybe for like multi-years, right? Then it probably matters because you're not going to be wanting to hold a company that's going to go bankrupt, right? That's usually you're not going to see the chart go up and the company's filing for bankruptcy. Typically, you're not going to see that, right? So that's when the fundamentals really matter, when you hold really long term, multi-years, probably even a decade or more. But if you're just thinking, the next couple of months, a couple of days, couple of weeks, couple of months, even like a year, well, then technicals are going to be overriding the fundamentals. It doesn't really matter. That's when you'll see this like difference in price, right, from the fundamentals. You'll see this separation, and right now you'll see that you're seeing that separation in MSTR because the MNAV is close to 1, probably even less than 1. And it makes sense because as this is a company, right? It's not the asset that you're buying. You're not just buying gold. You're not buying Bitcoin. You're buying the company that's buying that asset. So there's risk involved. So it makes sense that when things are not as hopeful, that the premium is going to be erode, right? Now it's looking like it's a deal, right? Because it's more risky to hold that thing. So it does make sense to me that yes, this will probably go much lower than people can think or even believe, but that's just how the markets work. I've seen a lot of crazy stuff, and being less than 1 MNAV for a Bitcoin treasury company is not crazy. That's normal. That's going to happen, especially for MSTR. So again, I've been pretty bearish on this stock, but again, it's not going to move in a straight line. So don't think, oh, we rally up to 284 and we're done going down. No, even if we go up to 330, I would say it's still pretty bearish, right? Because we're still below the 360 level. Yes, we can be bullish in the short term, like, hey, next couple of weeks, we're probably going to see a pullback higher. But overall, I think there's a high probability this is the top right here. And you can just start looking for a low. We can go and mark that out right now. If it follows the same pattern as it did last cycle, what did it do? Well, it had a similar structure, and then it bottomed out in you could say about Q2, Q3 of the year after the few years after the top, or a year after the top. So if we do the same thing again, if it's going to lead Bitcoin to the bottom, I don't think it will. I think there's going to be a decoupling happening, and we'll probably see a little bit of rally in MSTR, but not enough to recover. So let's just map it out. So if I think it's going to happen, let's say by the end of next year, a bottom, right? This is about 2026 right here, December 31st. So we have all this time to take out all these gains right here, because a lot of people bought at $50. You'll see people posting, sub $100, $20, $30. So they bought a lot of shares at lower prices. So the market's going to take its time, do something like this, drop 80%, and then, eventually a rally, right? Something like this, and then like this. Yeah. So that's how it, is most likely going to play out. If this is a top, which, I mean, it just looks more and more like it. I can't say with certainty, but high probability, yes. Very, very high probability. If it just drops 80%, you're looking at a $100 MSTR share, which is not that far off from where we are. And then 90%, which is last cycle, $50, $55. And you can't say things are impossible in the market, because anything is possible realistically, right? And those are realistic prices. We have been there before. I mean, just a few years ago, look at this peak right here. This peak on the chart right over here. Use my highlighter tool. Right over here, this peak right over here, we can look at it. What price was that? That was $71 back in January of 2024. So this upcoming January, that's only 2 years. 2 years later, we're back at the same price. I mean, it's not unheard of, especially in a bear market. So we were just there a few years ago. It's not like everybody keeps on thinking like this company is different because they have more Bitcoin. It doesn't matter. The traders don't really care. It's following the exact same pattern as last time. Why is it following the exact same pattern as last time? It's because people keep on making the same mistakes, right? If a lot of people still had denial that we topped right over here, then they can pull the same pattern, repeat it, and then it's going to follow it exactly to the T and trap everyone out. Looks pretty much identical. It's called a repeat pattern. This happens a lot of times through a bunch of different charts, not just this one. It's not unique to this chart. This is a very similar pattern playing out. And yeah, we could see, like I said before, we could see a rally from the lows with Bitcoin rallying maybe back up to the 270s, 280s. I would not be surprised. And then another crash down lower. And then we finally hit $100 and potentially bottom out over there. So we don't have to go sub 100. But yeah, this looks very similar to what's happening right now. And a bounce is due, right? Even though I'm bearish long term, I think a short term bounce is due. Expected to come probably back up to at least the 240s, maybe even the low 300s if you're lucky. And then it'll probably carry on lower. So that's what I see on the chart right now for MSTR. Bitcoin is very close to bottoming out, in my opinion, at right around $93,000, $94,000. Maybe one more final dip down. Maybe even the low 90s, like 92, 91 is fine. And this still looks like a correction. Why? Because if you go on the monthly chart, we have not broken the long-term trend structure. So here's the monthly chart. Let me move all the drawings. And if you take this swing low, you drag it across, and you connect it to here. So we got the first touch right here, the second touch, third touch. We are right at it. So it's not broken. This looks very similar to the last moves down too, like this one right here, this one right here, this one right here. So I would say for Bitcoin, there's still hope, right? There's still a lot of hope left. The trend is not over. The trend is not invalidated. It looks very similar to last two corrections where we have a range pattern, as you can see here, range pattern, another range pattern, and then the third range pattern, right? And then what did we do? We broke down lower from the range. So we went up, sideways, down, and then up, sideways, down, and then up, sideways, down, and then up. So it does make sense of it happening, right? It's just a pattern repeating. Patterns don't always keep on repeating. Eventually they're broken. But as right now, the trend is unvalidated. So I'm expecting higher prices for Bitcoin very soon. It should bottom out. We're right near the trend line, right in the measurement target, as well as volatility increasing, which is a good sign. If there's lower volatility, it probably doesn't have enough energy to have a strong reversal. But volatility going up is what we need to see a huge reversal. And then let's take a look at the ratios, right? Gold divided by Bitcoin's price. You can see that it's kind of topping out. It's basically near a measure move target, a multi-year high, right? A 1-year high. You can see that we're right near the top of that and potentially leading to a decline into April of next year, which means that Bitcoin continue to outperform gold for several more months. That's what the chart is telling me. Doesn't mean it will. We could just ignore this and just continue to move up higher like that. But with it climbing up exponentially, nearing a measure move target, with Bitcoin as well as with Bitcoin bottoming out near a trend channel line, and also its measure move target in the downward direction. So this is the measured leg right here. Second leg down, bears were targeting the $93,000 level, 93,500, basically since about late October, and they have almost completed that. So typically you'll see a bounce here. So I think we're going to probably at least see at a minimum a bounce. It's not guaranteed, but typically you do see bounces. So a bounce up higher, and that'll tell us if we are going to see a new high or it's just going to roll over and not be strong enough to break, the 107 level and stuff like that. We also need to see a break of this trend line for more confirmation. So again, it does make sense for Bitcoin to finally start outperforming gold because that's what the chart is telling me. It's coming to a end of this move. Gold either will crash substantially, which I don't think so. It'll probably drop, and then Bitcoin will go up substantially, which I think it will. And then Bitcoin against MSTR, you see the ratio still moving up higher, and it's ready for a huge outperformance. I don't think this is a top. It looks like we exceeded the measurement target, and it still wants to move up higher. Probably come to these prior highs right here, and probably the breakout level of 638. So we could see another final move up higher, something like that, and just continue to beat out MSTR. So that's what the chart is telling me. It's still pretty strong. I don't think this is going to be, crashing down, can it? But I don't think it will. It looks pretty good. To the upside, this one looks pretty good, poised for the downside, just ready to, finally break down lower. We'll see if we get that or not. If not, hey, then things are over for Bitcoin as well. And you can just measure from the high to about 60, 70% drop, and that'll probably be the next cycle low into late next year. It's very simple. 60% takes about 50,000, and all the other prior corrections were even larger than that, but I'm giving the benefit of the doubt that we won't drop as much because people are holding more, longer. So 60%, let's just say we drop 70%, $39,000, 40,000, just round it off, and into late next year. So it's very simple, right? If we have topped, we break the bullish trend line, we stay below the bearish trend line, we have topped, just do a 70% move down, you're looking for about $40,000, $39,000 into potentially late next year. But if it's ready to move up higher, then the measurement would reset. You would measure from a higher price. So that's all I have for Bitcoin MSTR. Hopefully it made sense. Basically, yes, I'm bearish on MSTR in the long term. I think we have topped. Most likely, you're going to be seeing $100 and potentially less than $100 sometime next year. Most likely a bottom out late next year. In the meantime, it is near its downtrend lows, overextension. We're ready for a pullback, so don't be surprised to see a move up higher towards the mid 200s and potentially, if it's really bullish, back into the high 200s. But I still say that's still bearish territory. It doesn't mean it's going to reverse the trend. Bitcoin, on the other hand, bottoming out potentially very soon. This should not go down substantially lower. If it's going to go up higher, it's still supported by the bullish trend line. We are following a similar pattern that we have seen before, a range, a failed breakdown lower, and then a reversal. And this will be the third time it can happen. We also have the volatility increasing on Bitcoin, which will give it more energy or more fuel to reverse. And then also the ratio against gold is potentially coming to an end soon as well for this trend. It's a long-term measurement target that has been met, and that can lead to a top and a move down, a huge decline into April of next year. And then the MSTR price against Bitcoin's price, you can see that Bitcoin is continuing to outperform MSTR, which also means that it can move up substantially higher. And while MSTR either goes down, either MSTR goes down substantially and Bitcoin doesn't go as much, or MSTR goes up but Bitcoin goes up more, or Bitcoin goes up and MSTR doesn't go up at all. Either one, it looks like we could see continued outperformance into the end of the year. That's all I have for charts today. This is Vee Trades, and thank you for your time.